Once upon a time, long, long ago in a land filled with mystery and wonder, there existed two warriors whose tale would be told for generations to come. This is a story that has been passed down through the ages, etched in the annals of history, and whispered among the winds of time. There were two warriors. One was very big. He was a giant. His name was Goliath. He was very strong and scary. Goliath was a towering figure, clad in heavy armor that glinted menacingly under the sun. His presence alone was enough to send shivers down the spines of even the bravest soldiers. He was a champion of the Philistines, a fearsome warrior who had never known defeat. His voice boomed like thunder, and his footsteps shook the ground. Goliath was a symbol of power and invincibility, a living legend among his people. The other warrior was very small. He was just a boy. His name was David. He was a shepherd. He looked after sheep. David was a humble young lad, with a heart full of courage and a spirit that burned bright. He spent his days tending to his flock, guiding them through the lush pastures and protecting them from harm. Despite his youth and inexperience in battle, David possessed an unwavering faith and a keen sense of justice. He carried with him a simple sling, a tool he had mastered while defending his sheep from wild animals. David was a beacon of hope, a reminder that true strength comes from within. This is the story of their fight. It's a story about courage and faith. The battlefield was set, a vast expanse of land where the fate of two nations would be decided. On one side stood Goliath, a colossus of a man, ready to crush anyone who dared to challenge him. On the other side stood David, a mere boy, armed with nothing but his sling and his faith. The air was thick with tension as the two warriors faced each other, their eyes locked in a silent battle of wills. The clash between David and Goliath was not just a physical confrontation, but a test of belief and determination. It was a moment that would be remembered for eternity, a testament to the power of the human spirit. It's about believing in something bigger than yourself. David's victory over Goliath was not just a triumph of the underdog, but a powerful message about the strength of faith and the importance of believing in a higher purpose. It showed that no matter how insurmountable the odds may seem, with courage and conviction, even the smallest among us can achieve greatness. This timeless tale continues to inspire and remind us that true power lies not in physical might, but in the strength of our beliefs and the resilience of our spirit. Goliath was a giant among men. He was very tall. He wore thick armor. He had a big sword and a big spear. He looked very scary. Every day Goliath shouted at the Israelites. The Israelites were David's people. Goliath wanted to fight them. He wanted to scare them. The Israelites were afraid. They didn't want to fight Goliath. He was too big. He was too strong. David was a shepherd boy. He lived in a small village nestled in the hills of ancient Israel. Every day he would take his father's flock of sheep out to graze in the lush green pastures. The sun would rise, casting a golden hue over the fields, and David would lead the sheep to the best spots where the grass was thick and fresh. He loved the peacefulness of the countryside, the gentle bleating of the sheep, and the soft rustling of the wind through the trees. He was small, but he was brave. Despite his young age and small stature, David had a heart full of courage. He was not afraid of the challenges that came with being a shepherd. He knew that the safety of the flock depended on him, and he took his responsibilities very seriously. His eyes would scan the horizon, always on the lookout for any signs of danger. He was determined to protect his sheep at all costs. He looked after his father's sheep. Each sheep was precious to him and he knew them all by name. He would guide them to the best grazing spots and make sure they had plenty of water to drink. When one of the sheep wandered off, David would go after it no matter how far it had strayed. He would carry it back to the flock, gently scolding it for getting lost, but relieved that it was safe. He protected them from lions and bears. The hills were home to many wild animals, and David had to be constantly vigilant. He had faced lions and bears, fierce predators that threatened his flock. With nothing but his staff and his sling, David would stand his ground, ready to defend his sheep. His bravery and quick thinking had saved the flock many times. He had become a skilled and fearless protector. He was very good with his sling. David had spent countless hours practicing with his sling, honing his skills. He would set up targets and challenge himself to hit them from greater and greater distances. His aim was precise and his hand was steady. The sling had become an extension of his arm and he could use it with incredible accuracy. He could hit anything with his sling, even from far away. Whether it was a small rock or a distant tree, David's sling would find its mark. His skill with the sling was well known among the villagers, and they marveled at his ability. It was this skill that gave him the confidence to face any danger that came his way. One day David's father said, "David, go and see your brothers." His father, Jesse, had other sons who were soldiers in the Israelite army. They were fighting against the Philistines, a fierce and powerful enemy. Jesse was worried about his sons and wanted to know how they were doing. He asked David to take some food and supplies to them and bring back news of their well-being. They are fighting with the Israelites. The battle was intense, and the Israelites were struggling against the might of the Philistine army. The air was thick with tension, and the sound of clashing swords and shouting soldiers filled the valley. The Philistines had a secret weapon, a giant warrior named Goliath, who struck fear into the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. David went to see his brothers. He heard Goliath shouting. As David approached the battlefield, he could hear the booming voice of Goliath taunting the Israelites. The giant challenged them to send out a champion to fight him, but no one dared to step forward. The sight of the massive warrior and the sound of his mocking laughter filled the Israelite camp with fear and despair. He saw how scared the Israelites were. David was not afraid. Unlike the seasoned soldiers who trembled at the sight of Goliath, David felt a surge of determination. He could not stand by and watch his people be humiliated. He knew that with God's help, he could defeat the giant. His faith was unshakable, and his courage was unwavering. He knew that God would help him. David's faith in God gave him the strength to face any challenge. He prayed for guidance and courage, and he felt a divine presence surrounding him. With a heart full of faith and a spirit of bravery, David stepped forward, ready to face Goliath and prove that even the smallest and youngest among them could be a hero. David said, "I will fight Goliath." King Saul said, "You are just a boy. Goliath is a giant. He will kill you." King Saul gave David his armor, but the armor was too big. David took it off. David said, "I will fight Goliath with my sling and my stones. God will help me." Section 5. The simple sling, a deadly weapon. David had a sling. This was no ordinary toy or simple tool. It was a weapon of great potential. In the hands of a skilled user, it could be as deadly as any sword or spear. The sling has been used throughout history by various cultures, from shepherds to soldiers, for hunting and warfare. Its simplicity belies its effectiveness. It was a simple weapon, just a piece of leather and some string, yet it held the power to change the course of battles. The design was straightforward, but its impact was profound. The leather pouch would cradle a stone, and the strings would be used to swing it with great force. This simplicity made it accessible to many, but mastering it required skill and practice. It was made of leather and string. These materials were readily available and easy to work with. The leather provided durability and flexibility, while the string allowed for a secure grip and control. The construction of the sling was an art in itself, with each component playing a crucial role in its functionality. The balance and weight distribution had to be perfect for it to work effectively. David put a stone in the sling. The choice of stone was important. It had to be the right size and weight to ensure accuracy and power. David, being a shepherd, had a keen eye for selecting the perfect stones. He knew that the right stone could make all the difference in a critical moment. As he placed the stone in the sling, he felt a sense of readiness and determination. He swung it around and around, then he let go. The motion was fluid and precise, a result of countless hours of practice. The centrifugal force generated by the swinging motion would propel the stone at incredible speeds. Timing was everything. Releasing the stone at the exact right moment was crucial for hitting the target. David's movements were confident and practiced, a testament to his dedication. The stone flew out very fast. It was almost like a bullet, traveling with such speed and force that it could penetrate armor or cause serious injury. The power of the sling was in its ability to convert the energy of the swing into the velocity of the stone. This made it a formidable weapon in the hands of someone who knew how to use it effectively. David was very good with his sling. His skill was not just a result of natural talent but also of relentless practice and dedication. He had spent years honing his abilities, learning the nuances of the weapon, and perfecting his technique. This expertise gave him confidence, knowing that he could rely on his skills in a moment of need. He had practiced every day, whether it was to protect his flock from predators or to prepare for unforeseen challenges. David made sure to keep his skills sharp. His daily practice sessions were rigorous and disciplined, focusing on accuracy, speed, and control. This routine not only improved his proficiency but also built his confidence and mental fortitude. He could hit a bird in the sky with his sling. This level of accuracy was a testament to his exceptional skill. Hitting a moving target required not just precision, but also an understanding of timing and trajectory. David's ability to consistently hit such targets made him a formidable opponent, capable of taking down even the most elusive prey. He knew he could hit Goliath too. Despite the giant's imposing size and armor, David's confidence in his abilities was unwavering. He understood that his skill with the sling gave him a unique advantage. His determination and belief in his own capabilities were crucial in facing such a daunting challenge. David's resolve was unshakable, fueled by his faith and his training. David knew that God was with him. He was not afraid. His faith gave him the courage to face overwhelming odds. He believed that his skill, combined with divine support, would lead him to victory. This unwavering faith and confidence in his abilities made David a true warrior, ready to face any challenge that came his way. With his sling in hand and faith in his heart, he was prepared for whatever lay ahead. Section 6. David's Courage, Goliath's Boast. Goliath laughed when he saw David. "You are just a boy," he roared. "Come here and I will feed you to the birds." David said, "You come to me with a sword and a spear, but I come to you with the power of God." David ran towards Goliath. He was small, but he was fast. Section 7. One stone, one victor. David put a stone in his sling. He swung it around and around. He let go. The stone flew through the air. It hit Goliath right in the forehead. Goliath fell down with a crash. The giant was dead. David had won the battle. Section 8. Triumph of the Underdog. The Philistines saw that Goliath was dead. They were afraid. They ran away. The Israelites were so happy. They had won the battle. They cheered for David. He was their hero. David had defeated the giant. He had saved his people. Section 9. A Legacy of Faith. David's story is a story about courage and faith. It teaches us that even if we are small, we can do great things if we trust in God. David was not afraid of Goliath because he knew that God was with him. He trusted in God's strength, not his own. David's story reminds us that with faith, even the smallest among us can overcome the greatest challenges.